This is a great image of a respectable, classy, beautiful woman.
For you to point out this well-dressed sister here to make me feel some type of way about myself becomes a problem.
Let me get you.
Reason I have never said I do is because I don't.
I've been married, and I couldn't sign up for bad sex.
Test drive.
So if we enter a relationship with anything that's about me, then I don't believe that we're ready.
Not just for single people, married, whatever your status, but what is your IRS status? People think, I got a boo, whatever, I ain't part of this. No, you are single until you get married. Check the status, baby. Anyway, I am Shelly Williams. I am your host, and I am single in a relationship, but relationships are complicated.
I am Carol Petra. I'm also single. No children, no boyfriend, no boo, no nothing. Just
You got you, boo. You all that, girl. Mm-hmm.
I got me.
I'm surrounded by greatness. Yes.
Thanks.
I'm David Scott, better known as Mr. Goodnight. I am single, and I am inquiring.
This is new.
He's
Of anybody in
inquiring.
particular?
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't have anything to say after that. I mean, y'all know I'm dating. I ain't want y'all to know
you
him
always
yet.
inquiring. You always inquiring.
Inquiring. Inquiring minds. What
I'm saying after my 6 minutes of greatness with Roberto, I had to move over and be inquired by David. I'm working it out.
It was 8 minutes.
Them other two, my mind was so blown. That was the part when I had my thumb in my mouth, I was rocking back and forth. I know, I was recovering. I was recovering. I was recovering. I'm Danielle, and I am single and officially dating. They still trying to give me a title because, I don't know, I'm a little bit scared, but I think I might have found the one that can handle all of this right here.
Right there.
And I'm Roberto Lopez, and I am still your Puerto Rican persuasion. I'm single.
I am Alicia, and I'm not a virgin, but I'm single and I'm celibate and quite sexy.
Yes, you are. I am Christopher Dion, a.k.a. The Gentleman, and I am your Al Bundy of the group. I am married with children.
And I'm Yana, very single. Maybe dating a little bit here and there, not too extensive, but single for now.
Single for now. Well, single in a relationship when you want to honor God. We're talking about, we had Muneerah Warner, blogger for Urban Chastity. And she is a 32-year-old virgin because she's honoring God. Now, I'm not saying I don't want to honor God. I do. With everything in me wants to honor God. However, I've done it. I've been there. Love it. I mean, wrote the book. I could write a book about it now. I'm ready to go. How?
You know you can't write no book. We done established. I went to the class with you.
I'm better now.
You better now?
I've discovered something great. Masturbation.
Just for those of y'all who don't
I have
know.
never tried it until just this week. I said,
You like this one?
Welcome. Welcome, Shelly.
I'm sorry, I had to share that.
I think you might have got like another 6 points on the freaky scale.
I did it.
Oh, no. See, I'm gonna tell you, for those of you who don't know, yes, I was gonna say, for those of you who don't know, is that as a part of Single on Saturday Night, we do host sexual awareness classes, adult human behavior sex classes. And we had to take a quiz to find out where we were on the freaky scale. They didn't even have a number for Shelly. It was on the negative side. But I think you might have got 40 points, baby. Just for that one. I think you did. I think you did. I'm so proud.
Oh my goodness. And I didn't thank you. Thank you. I feel like I have crossed over into a new world. I even put a post up. I was so frustrated that day.
So that's where the masturbation post came from? I was like, I said, ooh.
I had to post it. I don't know how you're dealing with it because I I was like, everything in life, everything's crazy. And I said, let me just touch myself.
When you pop
And
one off,
it
it
made me
feels
feel
it.
so much better.
When you pop it off, it feels like
I am not.
too much.
No, but I'm saying,
Well.
I don't want to honor God. I love the Lord. I am Shelly. I love Jesus Williams. But I'm sorry, that just, I don't.
See, I want to applaud you right now just for your discipline. I'm all about a disciplined life and, fitness and working out and my acting career, everything. So I want to applaud that. Now, I would like for you to just give us some really practical tips. There's many girls out there that want to live celibate, that want to not give it up and still date and still have a good time. So what can you tell those people like Melisha? All right, this is something you can do. This is how you're going to fill up your day. And this is how you're not going to feel like you're missing out on.
Up here, it's only you.
Well,
Shelly,
but there's more.
step
She's
number-
representing more people. That's one girl on our panel. But there's more women just like Melisha
What's
out
that
there.
up here?
I want you to. I'm not disciplined. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Step number one is the battle is in your mind. So the thought comes, the feeling comes right after it, So what I've learned to do is cast out the thought and replace it with another thought. And of course, the hardest time to do that is at 3 o'clock in the morning. But
Well, you sleep at 9, so.
no, I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, honey. I'm not asexual, I have sexual urges and sexual feelings just like anybody else. So that's what I do. The first thing I do is replace the thought with another thought. I renew my mind with the Word of God. I have certain scriptures, not condemning scriptures, but scriptures that help me look towards the future, that I placed in my mind. And usually after doing that, I'm fine. But then it comes to a lifestyle where I don't go to certain places, I don't hold certain conversations, and I don't do certain things, and all of that kind of lines up, and it keeps me.
But when you said that I renew my mind, I study, I pray every single day. I'm disciplined.
You gotta
in
want
that.
it bad enough.
But my body said something different. You can go ahead and tell your mind something else. My body was hurting because it needed to release. I promise you, I ain't never felt that in my life. That's why I was like, my body is in pain.
But Shelly, I think
my side was hurting. Everything was hurting, and I needed release. And I love Jesus, I do. But I really was like,
Shelly, I think it's a little different for you and somebody because she's never had sex. We know what it feels like. We've been there, so our cravings is going to be a little deeper.
It was interesting because she told me, she said, the cravings are there, and I have the cravings. And I'm thinking back to that time when I was still a virgin. The cravings weren't there. I couldn't necessarily identify what they were. Like after I had sex, I was like, that's what was wrong with me.
It comes a lot stronger,
I'm
I
acting
think.
a little bit crazy, and somebody need to, bend me over a chair real quick, cause I be a little bit out there. But now I know what that is, and you know what? He knows what it is too.
Well,
so
I don't really think that it's. I know y'all won't believe me anyway.
No, that was just my.
I don't think it's any
We're here to
different.
listen
I
and
have
learn.
several times a day when I go. Okay, so I know people who are having sex and that are married and don't even have the desire to have sex.
I think we had.
So it's
Remember,
there.
Cheney?
It's there, and especially since I hit 30, my hormone level is at an all-time high.
Wow, Cheney, didn't you have?
Yeah, I did.
Cheney.
Yeah, she's actually getting ready to testify right now. Hey, I'm Cheney. I'm taking applications. But the question that I had was, and it was a question that I had asked you privately, and I asked you in front of everybody, what are some of the challenges that you have in finding, a suitable relationship or a suitable partner? Because it seems to me that, you're not an unattractive person at all, and you definitely want to be married. So what has been some of the challenges that you found?
The challenges are, once we agree that we'll live that life of abstinence until we get married, there's 100 other things that fall into place. It's how many kids you want to have, where do you want to live, how do you want to raise these children, and most of the men I run into don't have those kind of values, not that I pick on every little thing, but a lot of things are important. I believe in beating children. I meet a lot of men who don't want to beat kids. You know what I mean? So I can't raise that kind of family. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of things that you run into. Even when it comes to the celibate guys or the abstinent guys who are in church.
Are they ugly?
How many? Some of them are, but how many women are already involved in their life, and where do I fit in? You know what I mean? So if you got a lot of females, then I'm not the one.
I have a quick question. Do virgins have wet dreams?
Yes.
Didn't you have them when you was a virgin?
No, because I was not a virgin. By the time I was able to ejaculate, I was already having sex. So,
But
you know.
you was having sex today?
I know I
Okay,
didn't.
but
no.
anyway.
And then hot rod. So we're gonna answer. You can answer this question, then we go back to the audience.
Oh, I
So
said
you
yes.
think- oh, you said yes. I mean, but what kind? I mean, you
Just
say
the
yes.
same dream as anybody else would have. I mean, yeah, we definitely have dreams. It could be sometime once a week, once a month.
But do
it happens.
you do something? Like, do you
masturbate afterwards?
Not masturbate.
You
Get
obsessed with that
moist.
this week?
Oh yes.
She's saying she
Don't do it while I sit here, okay?
You just discovered a whole new world. You just.
No, I'm saying.
My question.
Wait a minute. I'm saying in the dream, like this wetness that comes out. Do you feel that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to know that.
We have an audience member question.
Go ahead, hot rod, right?
Yeah, I'm hot rod and I'm single.
Okay.
Well, all right now.
My question is to you. When you turn 40, talking about having kids, wrong.
There are plenty of people who have kids at 40.
I'm saying,
Was
what
that
if
a
you meet
question
a
or a
man?
statement?
What if you meet a man and he's with you just to marry you for your stuff, and your stuff ain't all of it? I'm
Well,
keeping it
There's
100.
plenty of men that want to
I'm
marry
keeping
you
it
just
100.
because you're a virgin. I mean, I run into those. I'm not a ding dong, it's plenty of situations that I've been in, and I've had plenty, I know plenty of men, and I was raised in the hood. I'm from 22nd and Lehigh. I'm from Hansberry Street in Germantown.
Dobbins.
I buried dead people for 17 years since I was 15 years old. I was a funeral director for 7 years. So it's not a story, it's not a person I haven't met. So for somebody to come up to me and say, I'm just going to marry, I'll figure you out within a few weeks of what's going on here. And usually I figure you out by the first conversation.
Well, I don't think that. No, but wait a minute. But that wasn't the whole.
Take that, hot rod.
That wasn't the whole question.
Take that, hot rod.
Wait a minute. No, wait a minute. That wasn't. Wait a minute. That was not the whole question. Because the second part of that is, what about when your stuff ain't good? Because see, my mama told me, try it before you buy it. So I mean, that's where I am with it. Even if I was saying,
What
that,
if
I
whose
think
stuff
either
ain't
one.
good, his or mine?
Either one.
That's what I'm
Either
saying.
one. Because you don't know about your sexual compatibility because there's been no intimacy. So I think that was the second part of his question.
Okay.
It's not just about, I'm trying to marry a virgin. It's, I married this virgin, damn,
And then
why
the
did I do
sex
that?
is no good. Well, the thing
The chemistry is not there
We're
sexually.
humans, so we learn things all throughout life. So even when people do have good sex, they teach each other different positions and different ways they want to have sex. So that's just what I'll be doing.
But how
We'll
you know
be
you're not
practicing every
free?
night
Then you're
until
not
we
good.
get it right.
No, I mean,
Do
but
you
you can't.
study?
There are people, and you don't know this about yourself because you've not had sex. I'm just playing devil's advocate
go
here.
ahead, give it to me.
Is that this? There are people who are sexually incompatible. It doesn't matter how much I try and teach you because you in your box, you in your virgin box. You don't. I mean, I can tell you all about all this stuff that's out here, but if you ain't had an opportunity to experience some of it, you're gonna be in the box, and you're gonna think you outside of the box just because you gave it up. So then what happens? How do you try and get that chemistry and build that compatibility together?
I think that's one of the easier things to figure out in life as to whether you're going to be
How many
sexually
marriages break up?
compatible.
People who have had sex.
It's so
and
many
then
other
realize
issues that you can go through in life, but sexual chemistry can be learned. I definitely believe that it can. I know you don't, but I do.
I think the hope is that you're so committed.
Can say, I think we had we had a question in the back, so you got to be quick because there's a question.
I just wanted to say that the whole thing, you can have sex with somebody before you get married, and then 5 years after you married, their sex is going to hell. It's the worst experience. It's the worst. Sex has to be worked on. You know what I mean? And she could work. She got a hole, but she got a hole like everybody else got a hole. You know what I mean? It's a hole. And she could read books and study books. It's actually even Christian books that tell you how to be romantic and you learn your body. And she could work her thing out. You know what I mean? She could become better than somebody who was a hooker. You know what I mean? It's up to her to bring her sex game up. You know what I mean?
Okay, we had the question in the back. Chiquita, oh, you don't have the mic? No, we had Chiquita.
We have to go to the next person. There you go.
Well, mine wasn't so much a question. It was just that when we were talking about your first experience, I was listening to everybody when they were talking about their first experience, and mine has a little bit of everybody's story in it. But I think I wanted to just pose another part to your question about your first time, if you would do it over again, or was it bad, or was it good? And put another part to it, that if you could look back on yourself as an adult, knowing what you know today, would you look at the situation as, were you coerced into something that you really weren't ready for? Was the person that you had sex with, was that an appropriate person? Should have even been trying to get you to have sex? Because once I got to be an adult and I realized, looking after I had my own children, that the first encounter I had with being sexual, we didn't go all the way with sex, but just being sexual, I was actually being molested. And it was by somebody that really should not have been talking to me or touching me or doing anything like that. So I'm saying that we kind of should look back on this with a little bit more of a serious tone to it, because a lot of times what we go through in our relationships as we are adults is a direct reflection of how we started off and what our views were about how we started.
I want to make I want to comment where, you know, we're single on the panel and we're talking about, I guess, sex. And I like what Muneerah said, that there are so many more issues to talk about in pursuing a relationship. And then that's how we become unsingle, is pursuing some of these other things that we want our lifestyles to be, with the disciplines and things like that. Where if sex get all convoluted, you know, we are walking away before we even got to know each other because we got satisfied. We got that over and done with. And it's the person that we want to commit to, and it's the ideas that we want to share, and it's the families that we want to raise and things like that. So I'm just, you know, I want to commend you for that, and that, you know, just the sex part. I mean, we're single doesn't mean just sex, you know, just out there wanting to have sex. Available and everything else like that. So I just want to commend you for just having an agenda that's beyond sex.
You're right. You could be in a relationship and you take the sex away all of a sudden, and you say, I want to honor God. You can see the turmoil that will come in a relationship that will just tear it apart. You think be close. I love you. I want to be with you. I don't want you to go nowhere. As soon as you eliminate that sex, I love you. I don't want to go nowhere. I want to get the hell out. And that's how people are.
I agree with
True
that.
experience.
It will cloud your mind. I know that if I have sex with somebody, I will get attached. It will cloud my mind. You're not going to have those long conversations on the phone. The whole relationship changes as soon as you have sex, because there are, and it's called a soul tie that you have with people when you do, you know, have sex with them. And the way a man approaches you before you have sex and the way he treats you after and approaches you after, it just changes.
It does. That whole love, I'm so in love, really will change that. Oh, I wish I wouldn't have said that. I wish we'd have waited. Oh, now that you're not getting none, you wish we would have waited now. We wish we would have done it a whole lot of different ways. But, you know, I digress. Go on.
Well, I just want to say this conversation is really, it's an incredible conversation, particularly within our culture, you know, because the relationships between, you know, black man, black woman, a lot of times are, you know, we struggle with that a bit, you know, and you see a lot of people in here single, a lot of people that may have a lot going for them, whatever the case, but, you know, there's chemistry issues, and I even talk about, when you say sexual chemistry, I think that's a important part of a relationship too, and, you know, that can be worked on, but sometimes, you know, some are incompatible, you know.
I believe you.
But I got a question for Danielle.
Yeah.
You said that your first experience was in a European boarding school, right? Am I to assume that it was with a European?
No.
Okay.
No.
Good question.
No, actually it was not. I had a boyfriend that was here, and he came to visit me. And when I came home, because I was an exchange student for a little bit over a year, so he'd been over there, I'd been back home, and our first time was actually in the summer immediately when I come home right before college. So I was home by then. No, it was a young man from the hood.
Oh, you messed up my second question. Because I was going to ask, is there a difference between, you know, having sex between, you know, black man, white man?
Oh, now have I had that? Yeah. Well, I mean, because then the next person was older European count, 25 years older than me.
Wow.
So, I had a little flashback. Yeah, I did, because in that instance, you were talking about a grown man who absolutely had desires and things that he wanted fulfilled, And this man showed me the world, literally. Because, you know, he had a private jet to show it to me.
Okay, Tasty, aka Tomorrow Tasty. Come on.
I wasn't for the first part of the conversation, but it goes back to being molested and not having my first being my choosing. Because now what my first was me looking for something that I already had that I should not have had. So I commend you on doing what it is that you're doing, and I think everybody is looking at it in the sense of you're not going to have that first time experience. I think your first experience is going to be so much better than what all of ours was. Because at that point in life, you're going to get what God sent for you to have, not for what we wanted to get and have. That's why our experience was so wrong. It wasn't right for us because it wasn't the right person.
Again, continue to speak for yourself.
Everybody except
okay.
Muneerah.
Everybody except all that right there.
And Yana, that's why I said they're isolated. We understand this isolated greatness.
Isolated, like, okay, like you said, by us being out there, you had the welcome to that first pleasure of release. But the body still works the same way for you because, like you said, you're waking up with those wet dreams. It's a natural thing. So at some point, you need to release. You're not doing it yourself. That's just God's way of saying, baby, I got you. Until I give you what it is I want you to have. I think it's going to be a beautiful experience. As far as you not being good, who thought of that? No, nobody's good their first time around. You heard of all of our horror stories.
Hot rod one day.
Again, speak for yourself.
Except for that
I'm just
one right
saying.
there.
No, and the reason it's because I don't think I'm an isolated incident. I think I'm an isolated incident with this specific demographic. Because when I sit and I talk to my friends that I grew up with, that I have similar socioeconomic education experiences, their experiences are very much like mine.
Well, because like when I think somebody touched on that, because you had a whole all-out relationship prior to that. So if all of us had a relationship only geared towards the end game. So you didn't have that middle. You had that beginning and boom, here we go. Now it's like, oh, I bled, I did this. It was a bad experience. You had everything that was awarded to you prior to you, so that you had a beautiful experience. And I think yours will be a beautiful experience as well because people always want to get to the point of, oh, it's not going to be good. Sex starts here. It's a whole communication thing. You already know when you have, like you said, when I first meet that person, you are not for me. When it gets to that point when you go, oh, this is the one for me, your sex is already going to be there. Oh, everything is going to come to you. Trust me.
You know what I wanted to get a point at?
Down like a shot of liquor.
As far as men are concerned, as we're talking about this subject, a lot of conversation I had with men was, I don't want a virgin because she's going to love me forever. A myth. That I can't get rid of her. That she's always going to come, you know, I'm her first, so she's always going to be available to me because I was her first, which is a myth. And those are things that, when I say I was going to tell you the truth, that's what men say. I've heard it as a young boy, still hears it as a grown man, that there is no truth to that. It's all individual. That you cannot say that because, and I know men that don't want a virgin, even if she chooses him as the one she wants to be with, out of a fear that, I don't want that virgin because of what I just said, and the other thing was, I want her to be experienced prior to coming with me. I don't want her numbers high, but I want her to have some experience.
I think Hot Rod had a question. Hopefully he's not going to dog nobody right now.
My other question to you is, when you do decide, you know, to give yourself to whoever that is lucky, will it be a man with experience or a man from you know, church? But you can't, but wait. But you can't trust all men in church, though.
I've been in church since I was 3, so I know who to trust and who not to trust in church. But his experience doesn't make a difference. It doesn't matter if he's a virgin or if he had sex with 100 women. You know, forgiveness is forgiveness. God has forgiven him from what his past was. So if that's who God wants me to have, then that's what it'll be.
So a man that experienced?
Yeah, that's fine.
You know, whatever.
Just ask her.
I think the whole point is she's going to trust God to send her her king. God is going to do it. Like Tamara said, God will do it if you trust God. Whoever's in in the religious realm, we trust God enough to know that whatever we want, whatever we desire, He says it. Your heart's desires, He's going to give it to you. So you're trusting God.
Yeah.
Keep on trusting.
And most likely he's going to be abstinent for a couple years before I, decided to even go out with him,
But it
so
always
he's
could
going to
be-
be abstinent for a couple more years because we have to date and get engaged, and so whoever he slept with probably doesn't even matter.
It always could be the devil blocking you too.
No, I'm not that gullible.
Oh, come on.
I just want to say, because a lot of times, and this is how I was growing up, I can talk to somebody and she can be a virgin, and we can be like, okay, well, we're not going to do anything, but I'm getting to somewhere else. So I'm glad you have that discernment. And the other thing is, with the bad experiences, you have to realize too, those men weren't taught. Like me at 13, I have older cousins and uncles. I was taught. I watched videos. My mom gave me a book on sex at 12 years old. You know what I'm saying? So I was taught how to treat a woman because I was the only man on my mom's side. But at the same time, your first experience will sometimes, not gonna say all the time, sometimes have you how you are growing. Because if you started early, you're gonna want to keep going. You want to keep going. It depends on who taught you, your growing up. Because if you had a bad experience, most of y'all who had bad experiences, y'all waited a couple years before you had an experience. Because once you do something bad, your mind thought is the next time is gonna be bad. But those who didn't have a bad experience, like a Danielle, like myself, we like Yanni, we wanted to continue. So it goes on being taught. So for those who have teenage sons, I have a 21-year-old, a 21-year-old, and a 12-year-old. You have to teach them at an early age. Don't be afraid to teach your sons or your daughters about sex at an early age. And I say that because they're out here doing it anyway. So it's better that you teach them so your daughters won't have that experience that you had with somebody that she shouldn't be doing it with. That's just the side note spiritual part of me coming out. Make sure you teach your kids so they won't have the same experience that you had.
Is it making them aware of it?
It's teaching them. You're
We're going to teach them. I got you.
You're teaching them.
Go ahead. Can you.
I just want to say that I think good sex comes from knowing who you are and comes from within. So the panelists who started out and had a bad experience, either it was because of you were being young, you were pressured, you weren't really ready for it, so it wasn't going to be good to start with. The people who had a good experience, you had a relationship, you felt comfortable with who you were, with your body. And now that you are waiting, I mean, you know who you are. You know what a wonderful person you are. So to the comment of, well, what if it's not good? Well, if it's not good, then you need to teach him what he's doing wrong, because obviously it's him, right? But I think the issue again. I mean, there's not a person that I love to have sex, and I think it's, I have good sex because I know who I am and I know what to say. I can say, wait a minute, you're not quite there yet. Let's work on this. And that's what it's about. It's not about, well, because you've never had sex before, it might be bad. I don't believe that.
I don't believe that either. I'm sorry, Carol. I don't believe that either. I think that some people are visual, and some people can just learn stuff, or they just have it in them genetically. Like, I believe you can be good and never have done something before. Like, I got in a car for the first time and drove, and I think I did great. And I've never driven before, but I've watched people do it. I've watched my dad. Sometimes you can just read stuff or look at stuff and you can just know how to do it and be good at it. I think that's a possibility. I don't think everybody's just going to be bad their first time because they've never done it.
Are you giving her osmosis?
I'm having sex with you right now.
It's great, right?
I agree that you have to know yourself, know who you are, know what works for you. And also, for me personally, I had to learn to be able to speak up and say, honey, this is not working. And that's okay. It's okay, it's acceptable. But if you're not comfortable with who you are, you're not going to be able to speak up. You're not going to be able to communicate or even know what does and doesn't work for you. So I agree with what you said.
We're coming to the end of the show, so we want to wrap it up with Muneerah Warner. Talk about your program and how I'm sure you're reaching out to other women or teenagers, somebody to spread your message.
Well, my blog is called Urban Chastity, and it's focused on practicing abstinence in the real world. We implement on the blog real world principles and the things you go through in real life, and teach you how to, become abstinent until you are married. Touch on molestation, people being molested and raped because it's harder for them. Men being abstinent. I try to focus on young people, but most of my talks are with older people. Next month, I'll be going to the prison to talk to them about abstinence, because once you practice abstinence in one area of your life, especially sex, you can control a whole lot of other areas. So I'll be going to the prisons to talk to them.
What was Steve Harvey like?
Oh, yeah, I was on Steve Harvey, but we didn't talk about abstinence on there. I was on the Halloween version of Steve Harvey's show, and I had to pick between 3 dates to go on. So I picked a Knight in Shining Armor, and Steve hooked me up on the best date ever. It was the best guy ever. Didn't work out, but it still was nice. Yeah, it was just one date. But yeah, Urban Chastity, I just been doing the speaking engagements, speaking to young people, speaking to prisoners, speaking to a lot of people about how easy it is once you control your mind about abstinence. I actually have a workshop April 7th. At New Jerusalem Baptist Church in 2 weeks, April 7th on a Sunday at 4 p.m.
Do you have anybody that you had these workshops, you talk to, that is really committed to it, that wasn't a virgin,
Most people that come to the workshop come for help. They don't come because they're already virgins.
No, do you have any success stories? Do you know anybody who wasn't a virgin, went to a workshop, tried the principles, and actually are maintaining?
They're still maintaining. It's not just come to the workshop and you're cured. It's moment by moment, day by day decisions that you have to make. So as the workshop goes on, you kind of figure out what's good for you and where you need to implement things in different areas, and then you carry it out on a day by day basis.
And it's urbanchastity.com?
Urbanchastity.blogspot.com, but if you just Google Urban Chastity, I have YouTube videos, the blog, everything will just pop right up. It'll be the first
thing. So your SEO was all good, huh?
Yeah.
All right. This is anybody last comments, because this is the end of the show.
No. I don't need to know anything else about some virgins.
Well, just thank you for sharing your story
You're
and giving
welcome.
us, we talk so much about sex and what we're all doing and about our dating lives, as most of us are all single. So it was very interesting to get, a different opinion and somebody doing things a little bit differently.
Thank you.
So thank you for that.
And just for the record, I am going to start a rumor that I did sleep with you.
Okay. It's a couple of them out. Don't worry about it.
I just want to thank you because I'm like the only celibate person up here, and they give me a hard way to go.
Yeah,
so
it's
thank you for
plenty
being
of us.
here.
It's plenty of
That is
us.
not true. That is not true, Melisha. That is not
yes, y'all
true.
do.
You do not get a hard way to go because you want to be whatever you are.
They give me a hard way to go, as you can see. But I think that I'm glad that you were here to.
Thank you. Welcome.
I don't give you a hard way to go. I agree. I want you to do it. I want you to do it.
That's what I'm saying. I say somebody should, as long as it ain't me.
I want you to do it, and I'm going to ask, whatever God has for me, it is for me. Anyway, this is Single on a Saturday night. Thank you for joining us. Every Wednesday, 10:30 p.m., Comcast 66, Verizon 29. Look out for us at the new location coming soon. Look out for us. We are coming to an area near you really soon. Single on a Saturday night. Thank you.